How's it going, everybody? Thank you for joining me today. We're going to be talking about Snoop Dogg's newest movie, The Underdogs, in which he plays Jaycen TJ Jennings, an ex football star who has hit rock bottom and now is sentenced to community service, where he must now coach an unruly Pee Wee football team in order for him to turn his life back around. Now, if you are a Snoop Dogg fan, this is going to be an automatic win for you. This is going to be appealing to you a little bit more. However, for the general audience, I don't think this is going to have that big of a strong appeal. This is more of an R-rated version of Kicking and Screaming, Bad News Bears, The Mighty Ducks, and so on those aspects, it's probably going to turn off a couple of people who aren't really into the raunchy humor side. So know exactly where you're going to be getting yourself into. However, when it came down to this movie is not going for any Oscars. It's exactly what you think it's going to be. It is a paint by numbers sports movies. You know exactly where this movie is going to go and how it's going to end. So there's really nothing in here that is trying to really reinvent the sports movies. I think this movie fumbles a little bit more than it scores. When we first get introduced to Snoop Dogg's characters, he is a bit of a centric asshole, so he becomes a little bit more unlikable, if you will. He cares only about himself. He doesn't really give a shit about anything else. However, once we get into the sentencing and once we get to see him coaching this little league, I think that is where the movie started to pick up for me a little bit more, especially when you have the introduction of Mike Epps in order for Snoop Dogg to bounce off somebody with a little bit more acting experience, especially in the comedy department. And so when he gets introduced and we see the dynamic between Snoop Dogg's character and Mike Epps' character, I think that is where the movie started to pick up a little bit more. It's a little bit rocky at the beginning, but once the movie gets going and you start interacting with these kids, I think that is where the movie started to become a little bit more enjoyable, and I started to have small degree of fun. The comedy in this movie is a little hit and miss, and a lot of the humor has to rely on the kids. On some aspects, it's fine. This is a easy breezy 90-minute film, even though at times it does feel like it's going on for a little bit longer than it should. And the humor doesn't hit a little bit more. But once we get introduced to these kids, and even though some of them don't have a lot of screen time as much as some do, you get to know some of these characters. Like you have one character that is hiding the fact that he's playing football, and then you have another one that is embarrassed that he lives in a trailer park. They try to infuse a little bit of heart here and there. I don't think it hit you as much as it should have, but I still enjoyed that it attempted to have some kind of heart in here in order for me to care about these characters. At times, the humor is a little bit hit and miss for me. Snoop Dogg is not an actor per se, but he does have a charismatic presence, and whenever he is on screen, this movie is basically on his shoulders. This is more of his passion project, so you can see the tender love and care that he gave this production to. But overall, it's an easy watch. I did not love it. I came out enjoying it a little bit more than probably most would, but it's just the first half of this movie where the humor and the performances felt a little bit forced and I was not getting what I wanted out of this movie. I was not laughing at all. It wasn't until Mike Epps showed up and we had the dynamics between him and Snoop that the movies became a little bit more tolerable, and that is where I thought it scored a little bit more, but overall it's fine. If you love Snoop Dogg, you're probably going to enjoy this a lot more than the general audience. If you like sports movies, then this probably is going to be right up your alley. I think they did enough for it to become tolerable. But those are my thoughts on The Underdogs. Have you guys checked this film out, or are you planning on checking this film out? Go ahead and drop your thoughts in the comments below and let me know, what is your favorite sports movie?